Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm super excited to be doing a Lovevery Pioneer kit unboxing. So if you watched my previous video on the Lovevery Babbler box, you'll know that my approach to these boxes is a little bit different to the prescribed idea. So this play kit by this brand Lovevery is for 16, 17 and 18-month-year-olds. While for me, I'm using this play kit for my 5-year-old son who has got hypertonia and learning difficulties. So for him, I'm using this as a kind of OT, occupational therapy toy to work on his fine motor skills, in this case with this box. So far, I can truly say they are fantastic. This is a really genuine review. I have been gifted this box, but this is a brand that I have sought out to work with because I truly think they make a massive difference. If you are a mum with a child that needs that OT therapy and you're going to an OT and you're trying to replicate that at home, it can be really hard. While these boxes are fantastic because they give you lots of developmentally correct toys that really work certain skills. They're very versatile, and also they're made with more environmental materials, which can be a real challenge when you're looking at therapy-based toys or you're on the search for lots of like fine and gross motor skill toys. So without further ado, I'm going to unbox this beautiful kit for you, and I'm also going to sort of review the kit as we go as well, because we have been playing with this for a while now. I also have a younger son who's 3 who has also been playing with this. So it just shows you that the 16, 17 and 18-month age bracket is really just a minimum. You can play with these toys for a lot longer than the recommended age. So I'm going to link Lovevery below if you want to learn more about them as a brand. But they started off in the US, they're now headed over to Europe and the UK, and it is so exciting that this company is over here because I have been eyeing them up for ages, and now that they're over in the UK, I'm really happy. So the idea is that they're a subscription box service. You can cancel at any time, and they give you the boxes when your child is at that developmental age. So it doesn't matter if you have an older child or a younger child, you can correct the age in the date of birth area, which is what I did, and they'll send you the box which is the correct developmental age. So it comes with a little sort of insert here, the little cute kid on the front, and tells you it's the Pioneer kit. And on the back, it tells you all the different toys that you're going to get in your box. And here we are at our 16, 17 and 18-month-year-old age bracket. And there's another 2 in this year-old age bracket as well. So it contains 5 toys and a book. And the toys are fantastic quality, so yeah, just amazing. I just love this company so much. To say I'm obsessed is a complete understatement. So the first thing that comes with is this play guide. This is really handy actually because it gives you an idea of what you can expect your child to be doing at this time. So lots of interesting ideas of what you can be looking out for, how you can be engaging your child and helping them develop. And then they go through all the different toys and they give you a reasoning behind why this toy is included, and also how to use it and how to get your child engaged with this toy, as well as different ways to use it. It's really useful. And then at the back there are some other ideas of things you could be doing at this age. For example, we've got cleaning activity and playing music with everyday items. We've got sensory play with fruit, and then also getting children to serve themselves with cutlery, water painting, which is such a fun one, and then there's the first Play-Doh activity with a recipe on making the perfect Play-Doh. Really thought out, clever little guide that will really help you with that age group, whether it's the actual age group or the developmental age group. Okay, so I'm going to dive into the biggest item here, which is this ramp. This is called the Race and Chase ramp. It's got blue on one side, red on the other, and it's actually a double ramp. So you've got space for 2 cars to go down at the same time. Now this ramp, it's it almost put me off getting this box actually, because I already had one of these tracking racetrack things in the house, but I just had a sort of inkling that this box might actually turn out to be a real success for my son, and it has. Now I can give you a direct comparison now of how this track works in comparison to my other wooden racetrack. So this is a little bit bigger. It's also got a double track on it. It's so much more weightier, which is nice. So when you set it down, it feels so much sturdier. Obviously it's got the colours on it too. It's made with environmentally approved wood, which is fantastic, and it feels incredibly sturdy. The other one that I had is actually fine. I'm not going to pretend it's not, it is fine, but it is a little bit more flimsy feeling, but then again, it doesn't have the double racetrack, which is giving this a bit more width, and thus it sits better, which is much more helpful with a young child or a child with weak muscle tone, because they can't knock it over as easily and they've got something to grip. Comes with two little cars, a red and a blue, and the idea is that you get your child to squat down to the area that they need to do and place these cars in, and then the cars just go down the track, and then you can race both at the same time, and it's really good fun. This is teaching your child to kind of like place the car on the right area of the track, but also there's a really satisfying feeling when they get it in place, because then they see the car whiz down and come out the end. Now this has been a moderately successful toy for my son. For him, he's kind of developmentally above this in terms of play. He's not very imaginative with his play like a lot of autistic children are. So for him, this is what it is. So he will definitely sit down with me and do this, which is great. And that's all I want of this box, is to try and engage him for a couple of seconds to get him placing this down and watching it go down. He does find it very satisfying. There's good feedback when the car comes out the other end. So overall, I would say this is a win. The way I use all these toys is I actually pop them out on our play shelves, and they're there if my son wants to play with them. Now my son will never go and play with toys. He is just not interested. He has his obsessions, which are books, which is great with me, but toys are just something he very rarely plays with. And you will find that a lot of children with autism or some developmental issues or special needs, it's not an unusual thing for them not to really play with toys. They play in a slightly different way that can be hard sometimes as a parent to understand. But it is important to give your child the opportunity to play in their own way. So just follow their interests, but definitely if they do need to be using their hands and working those fine motor skills and hand-eye coordination and things like that. So setting up these toys, what I do is I actually bring him over and we have like an OT session where I will get him to do this racetrack a few times, and then we will move on to the other toys, and I sort of rinse and repeat this every day. And it's like having your own therapy, fine motor skill therapy kit in your house. And that's how I use it with my older son. Oh, I've got a fly flying around. My younger son who's 3 actually loves all these toys, and this was his favorite toy, which is so funny. I did not see that coming. Now he loves cars, and for him, I think he kind of was playing some kind of Paw Patrol game with this, but he used our Lovevery blocks and all sorts of characters and the cars and made this into some kind of amazing imaginative play, and it was all based around this ramp. So this is a key part of my younger son's play. So it is interesting to know if you have a neurotypical toy and you're looking at this video from that perspective, then this toy actually might have more extended play than you think it will. As an adult, we're just like, okay, right, the cars go down and that's it. But for a child, this is quite an exciting toy, and that they can use it in lots and lots of different ways. Okay, on to the next toy in this Pioneer box. It's this, let me just get the right name of it. It's the community garden puzzle. Now in the Babbler box, they had this Circle of Friends puzzle, which were lovely round circles going down in size with big chunky knobs. This is the next stage on from that really, which are these fine knobs on the puzzles, and then obviously shapes. So you're matching the shapes, but it's actually quite hard work for a baby to sort of, or a toddler, to grab the little knob and get it in the right rotation, I guess is the word. Now, if I look at the play guide, I'm sure it will give me the exact reasons and the proper terminology for this toy. So let's have a look. So it says here, children at this age naturally enjoy activities that build their fine motor skills. The knobs on this puzzle are smaller than those on the shapes puzzle, and they encourage them to use their thumb and pointer finger in a precise pincer grasp. Their fine motor skills will expand rapidly in the coming years, allowing them to pull, push, twist, scribble, and later write and tie their shoelaces. So you can really see how important it is for a child that perhaps has got delayed fine motor skills to really master this skill, because without that, they're really going to struggle to expand on that and eventually write, which is the kind of goal. And also, you know, do some of those tasks that are self-care based, like doing up their shoelaces or putting on their coat and doing up buttons. So this puzzle, though it just looks like a simple little puzzle, really has a lot of reason behind it, which is why I love these Lovevery boxes. And I also love the play guide, because it's giving you all the right words that you can then actually use when you're talking to your occupational therapist, which is really useful. You could say to them, for example, oh, we've been working on this puzzle and using a pincer grasp, but we're really struggling, or we've mastered it. And it will really help your occupational therapist as well work with you, because you're getting at their level more and you can kind of understand the child better, I guess. So this is the beautiful puzzle. I absolutely love it. It's gorgeous, lovely wooden pieces. And as a farmer and a gardener, obviously I'm going to love this with all the onions and the turnips and the spades. Obviously for my 3-year-old, his interest in this is 0, because he's on to like proper big puzzles now. But for my 5-year-old, who, you know, while he's much more advanced in his visual language, you know, working on those little fine pincer grasp is quite challenging for him. He's almost mastered this, but it's been a really, really good puzzle to work on together. I'll insert a clip as well so you can see it in action. But yeah, this is one that we do every day. It's a real important skill for us to work on, and just getting those muscles working and using that hand-eye coordination as well. So perfect puzzle for fine motor skills. Now, of all the toys in this box, this one was the surprise. And again, this is why I love these boxes, because as a parent, I choose toys based on what I think my son is going to need and want. But actually with the Lovevery boxes, they obviously are compiling them themselves, so you don't have a choice of what's in the box. So you get the odd toy which you might think, oh, this is not going to work for my child, or they're too advanced for this, or too young for it. But actually when you get it, you might be quite surprised that it really does hit the spot. And this is the fuzzy Bug Shrub, and it's kind of meant to be like a little shrub. It's got like a brown bit down here in plastic, and then it's coated with this sort of green fuzzy fabric. It's got a lid, and then you've got these Velcro creatures, bugs, that you can pull off and pop inside. And when I saw this, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna end up giving this away or something, because there is no way my son is going to want to play with this. It's way too babyish for him. And you know, is he really going to find this entertaining? Well, he actually loves this, which it just shows you. He thinks this is great, and it is using good skill. So he has to peel them off. There's the opening of the lid that's putting them in and closing them. And because he's so visual, he loves the little insects. So for him, he loves getting the bee and going bees, and then popping it in. So actually, this has been a huge success. Another thing I'd say about this has a great satisfaction for him, because he can actually do this quite easily. And I did mention this in the Babbler box review, that I personally think it is important to give your children, especially when they have got a delay or they've got a mobility issue or muscle issue in my son's case, a chance to succeed and feel like they have done something on their own, especially when you get to the slightly older years. Like my son's now 5, and he needs to have that sense of pride that I can do this. Oh wow, you know, I'm a big boy. I can do this without mummy kind of cajoling me along. So this one has been a really good little toy, and definitely if we have another baby, I think they will absolutely love this as well. Really cute, and a nice one to expand on language as well, because you've got like the caterpillar, ladybug, little ant. It's a really cute toy actually. So completely have to go back on what I initially thought. This is great. I'm going to look in the little booklet just to see what it says, because I just might have missed something. So it says around 17 months. Oh no, that's the chase ramp. Okay, so learning to peel and stick objects and open and close the lid is fun for your child. It helps them to learn to coordinate both hands and build finger strength and dexterity. So they're using concentration, fine motor skills and finger strength, which is, you know, sounds pretty spot on. That's exactly what I've seen in my son. I think the little opening lid is quite nice and easy to do as well. It's not too challenging. So a great toy, and a great one that has a high success value. Now, just talking about that high success factor with the toys, I'm just going to bring back this puzzle again, because as I mentioned, this one is not so satisfying for my son to do because it's more challenging, especially having to rotate them in place. Some days he finds it easier than others depending on how tired he is and his muscles feel weaker. But the other toy that we had from the Babbler box was the Circle of Friends puzzle, which he finds very easy to do, but he loves it. So I have kept the Circle of Friends puzzle and I lay them both beside each other. We start off with the Circle of Friends puzzle, we do this one, and then we do the Circle of Friends puzzle. So there's lots of like positivity for him in that he's doing the Circle of Friends puzzle, he's able to do it easily, he feels lots of satisfaction and pride doing it. Then we do a more challenging puzzle, and then he gets that, he gets a bit frustrated, and we go back to something which makes him feel like I can do it. So yeah, that's just something that I've learned along the way that I thought I would share. So moving on to Rupert's least favourite toy, but one that I love, and this is called the Threadable Bead Kit. Comes in a little organic cotton pouch. And what it is it's a threading tool. Now, I have got threading activities in this house. And again, when I first saw this kit, I was like, oh, do I skip this one? Because we have threading activities, but I decided to go for it for a reason. So when you're threading as a little child and you're putting the beads on, this skill of holding and letting go can actually be quite challenging, and depending on the size of the bead, it can be quite hard. So for example, with a big bead like this, like a big bead like this big chunky wooden one, you can see that there's not much space to grip at the top, so that's a little bit harder. You're having to really use that pincer grip. Now this kit also provides you with some different shapes. So this one here is just a simple thin circle, and this one gives you plenty of space to grasp and let go. So if you have got more challenges with your muscles in your hands, that action is easier than that action. There's also then this bead, which is a little bit thicker, but it still gives you a decent space to hold on with a few fingers. And then we've got one that's kind of in between the wooden one and that last one I showed you. But it's got a nice big circle, so it's quite easy to get that stick in, and then you can hold and let go. So it's a short thread, so it's not too long, and you've got you've got 4 different types of beads to play with, and your child can then learn how to thread. So for me, I thought this was a really cleverly thought out toy because it has, even though it's a threading toy, it's got the different stages of how you can do it. So you can start off with just these simple ones and get your child engaged using those. And actually there's 4 of those. So you can make that into a threading activity just on its own and just use those. And you could just start off that way. And then as your child learns that skill of swapping the hands over, you could move on to the plasticky, chunkier ones. And then finally, these harder wooden ones. So I love this. I'll just quickly see if there's anything in this booklet that might be interesting. So it says your child is learning to use both hands to play and that each hand has its own role. One hand can act as the holder while the other hand acts as the manipulator. Figuring this out takes time. So stringing beads is a challenging fine motor activity at this age. So repeated exposure is the key. So yeah, this is a surprise hit for me. I think, like I said, this is really clever. For my son, he actually finds this so frustrating. He does not want to do this. His attention span is very low for this kind of thing. And yeah, I wouldn't say it's his favorite thing, but it's one that we work on because this is so good for him. And then actually, funny enough, my younger son loves this. So he doesn't really use it as a threading activity because he can thread, but he loves the fact it makes like a wiggly one and he plays with it all the time. And then a bonus part of that toy is that it links up with the lovely racing track. So some of these beads actually go down. So this is one of the little plastic green ones. And that goes down. These ones go down really nicely. And I think actually, do they go down? Yeah, the wooden beads go down. I'm not sure those go down. No, those don't go down. But it's quite fun because you can lay out all the beads and your child can have so much fun like seeing what goes down the racing track. And Lovevery did really think that through and they designed these so they would fit down, which I think is just so clever. I'm so impressed with this. So it really does expand the play. So you can try it with the cars and then the beads go down different speeds. Really, really good fun. And yeah, my youngest, my 3-year-old, loves playing with this and the beads. He thinks it's so much fun. Okay, so the final activity in this Pioneer box is the wooden stacking pegboard. Now, this was the toy I was most excited about because I have not seen anything on the market similar to this. The only other versions that are kind of comparable are very plasticky and flimsy. Well, this one I just thought was so fun. So it comes with this pegboard, just a little wooden pegboard, and then there are also beads. Now, this is my own bag, so it doesn't come with a bag for the pegs, just to let you know, but I've put them in a bag so they don't go everywhere. So there's a whole selection of these different coloured pegs. There's some different colours. There's red, orange, blue and green. And the idea is that there's 2 ways of playing with it. First of all, you can rotate the peg into the hole and you could fill up all these spaces with the pegs. You could also do colour matching as well. So you can get your child to put the red on the red, the green on the green, the blue on the blue, and the orange on the orange. So that's fun in its own right. And then of course you can build towers, which is so good fun. And what's great is because they've got the little peg knob here that fits in, it's not like building a tower with small blocks because they do actually stick together, and you can see there that they actually do bend, which I think is so much fun. So it's got a really good satisfying way of playing with this. You can kind of bend it like that and bend it back. So lots of room to explore words and communication with your child, especially if they are within this age bracket. You know, kids love going, ooh, it's about to fall over. And if your child is in speech therapy, that's a huge part of speech therapy, is like using those words like, wow, fall over. So really, really fun toy to expand speech actually. But also really visually stimulating for a child, like, wow, look at that. And very encouraging to build it up to a big tower. And also, like I say, because it's got those knobs, they fit in. So your child is actually having to use the fine motor skill of placing it in the hole, and also the hand-eye coordination, and then building up a tower, and then of course you can knock it down. So I think this is a really good toy. It's very pretty easy to do, but actually very satisfying, and using lots of skills that I'm really interested in developing with my son. So I'll have a quick look at the book and see if there is anything in here that I can sort of add to that description. The ability to represent an amount mentally without counting is called substitutizing. Yeah, I can't say that. There's lots of words I can't say. That's one of them. We develop a sense for how numbers work before we can count them verbally. Your child is beginning to understand quantity, determining that one item added to another makes 2, and one item taken away from 2 makes 1. So it says here all about colour matching, sorting them out into groups by colour, getting them to describe the colour, and yeah, also saying there's more pegs or less pegs. But also I also think that stacking is just like such a great fun game. I love that pegboard. Again, like I said before, there is nothing really on the market like that that I could access anyway, and it really pushed me over into wanting this Pioneer box. Initially I sort of thought I could create my own version of this Pioneer box, but actually I couldn't, because this is quite unique. And like I said, it's simple. There was a similar-ish one on Amazon which had ladybirds, and there was a zipper, but actually I don't think it would have worked, because it would have been too complicated for him and just too many things to see. This is quite simple, and I think that's the success of it. The threading toy, I haven't seen anything like that that works as well with another toy like the ramp. So well thought through, really, really good toys. I adore them. The final thing in the box is one of Lovevery's board books. This is Max and Nana Go to the Park, and in this sort of Montessori fashion, the pictures are actual photographs, so real life situations. And this is all about Max going to the park with his Nana, having a great time, but then he falls over and gets a cut on his knee. And my children are fascinated with emotion, so for them they both found this really interesting, and then how Max's Nana fixes it and puts on a plaster, and then he starts playing again. And there's actually a little bit of counting here as well with the steps, which both my children like to go 1, 2, 3. And yeah, lots of lovely language like whoosh or which young children adore. So these books are really good. This is our 3rd Lovevery book now, and I still read the other 2 a lot. I find for both my boys, these cover kind of like that real life world they're living in. Like playing in the park is something they do regularly. Falling down and getting owies is something they get regularly. And this is really good for them to be like, oh, there's a child who's the same as me, and they can identify with and understand how to process emotions. And I really, really like that with these Lovevery books. I think they're really clever, and it is a lot of that sort of Montessori idea behind it, of meeting the child where they're at and also showing them real life situations that they can identify with. So top marks for this as well. So that is everything in the Pioneer kit, and I hope this video has been useful, whether you're coming to this video from the perspective of a neurotypical child or a child that is more neurodiverse and needs a little bit of help with their fine motor skills or engaging with toys. I hope this is useful. If you've got any questions, let me know in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. I am obviously not a professional OT, but I'm just coming from this as the perspective of a mum who has a child who goes to occupational therapy, who has a delay, who has hypotonia, and really struggles with so many things. So for me, this is really helped me, and that is why I'm sharing this. I've linked everything below. I've got an affiliate link now for Lovevery, so I'm going to link that below if you want to purchase a box. And like you said, it is a subscription service. You have to subscribe, but you can cancel at any time. You can skip boxes if you don't want them. And I do think you can pause your subscription as well, which could be useful. But really, I would give this company 10 out of 10 easily. I would pay for this box hands down again and again. It's so good. It really does feel very supportive. So in my case, where I'm so desperate to do the right thing for my son and to help him the best I can, What I love about these boxes is that they are progressive. So we started off with the Babbler, which was like, you know, a super young box for my 5-year-old, but we had lots of fun and play with that box. I'm going to link that review below. And there's also toys from that box that we still use and are really successful. And then we've moved on to this box, which is way more challenging. And actually, this is really where my son is at in terms of his fine motor skills. So this is a box we'll use for a long time, I think, and come back to again and again. The next box is the 19, 20, and 21 month, and it's called the Realist. And that's also got fantastic toys in it for fine motor skills. So we'll be trying that one next, and I'll let you know how that goes. And I will hopefully have inserted some videos of my son playing with these toys, so you can kind of see how they work with children with low muscle tone in their fingers and low attention span as well. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Do give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it or you found it at all helpful. And of course, like I said, do leave a comment if you feel comfortable. And I will see you soon in another video. Bye, lovelies.